There is a place in space where the laws of physics stop working, where time bends backward, where light itself screams trying to escape. And in 2023, the James Webb Space Telescope pointed its golden mirrors directly into that place and captured something that should not exist. What happened next was not announced in a press release. There was no headline, no NASA briefing. The image was there, and then it was gone. This is what they found. You are 26 million light-years away from Earth. The Milky Way is behind you. So far behind that it looks like a single dim star among billions. You are drifting toward the galaxy NGC 1277 in the Perseus cluster, and even from this distance, you can feel something wrong. Not wrong like a broken machine. Wrong like a broken rule. The kind of wrong that sits in your chest before your brain even processes why. At the center of NGC 1277 lies one of the largest black holes ever discovered. Scientists call it NGC 1277. Its mass is 17 billion times the mass of our Sun. Read that again. Not 17 million, not 17,000. 17 billion suns crushed into a single point in space that takes up no space at all. But here's the problem. Black holes this size should not exist in a galaxy this small. The math does not work. NGC 1277 is a relatively modest galaxy, a fraction the size of the Milky Way, and yet somehow it contains a monster that dwarfs almost everything in the known universe. Astronomers have no clean explanation for how this happened. Some have quietly suggested it didn't form here at all. As you drift closer, something happens to the light around you. It bends, not like glass bends light, like reality itself is folding at the corners. Colors shift, blue stretch toward red. Red stretches toward frequencies your eyes cannot detect. This is gravitational zing. The black hole's gravity is so extreme that it warps the fabric of space-time like a heavy ball pressed into a rubber sheet. Except this isn't a metaphor. This is what is physically happening to the space you are floating through. The stars behind the black hole appear in two places at once. Some appear in rings. The universe is being mirrored around a drain, and that's when James Webb found it. In the data captured by Webb's NRCam instrument, tucked in the gravitational shadow of NGC 1277's black hole, there was a light source, not a star, not a reflection, not a known artifact of the imaging process. A structured emission, ordered, almost geometric, sitting in the exact zone where nothing should be emitting light at all. The region known as the photon sphere. The boundary where even photons, massless particles of light, are forced to orbit endlessly, trapped, circling a drain they can never escape. Things do not orbit neatly at the photon sphere. They die there. But here's the problem. This light source was not dying. It was pulsing. Stop for a moment. Consider what that means. At the photon sphere, time as you understand it does not apply. 1 second, there is not 1 second anywhere else in the universe. A year at that boundary could correspond to 1,000 years on Earth. If something were alive at the photon sphere, if something were sending a signal from that location, by the time we received it, the civilization that sent it might have risen and collapsed 100 times over. We would be receiving a message from a species that no longer exists. We would have no way of knowing. The Webb telescope is the most powerful eye humanity has ever built. Its mirrors are coated in gold. It orbits 1 million miles from Earth, parked at the Lagrange point 2, perfectly balanced between the gravity of the Earth and the Sun. It sees in infrared, light that is invisible to human eyes, which allows it to peer through dust clouds that blocked every telescope before it. It can see galaxies formed just 300 million years after the Big Bang. It sees the universe as it was, not as it is. Every image Webb captures is a time machine, and in this particular image, something looked back. But it gets worse. The emission disappeared in the next frame. Not faded, not moved. Disappeared. Gone between one exposure and the next. As if something had turned off a switch, or as if the signal had been absorbed back into the event horizon itself. Webb's imaging pipeline flagged it as a processing anomaly, and the frame was removed from the public dataset. Standard procedure for corrupted data. Happens all the time. except the frame wasn't corrupted. The calibration data was clean. The surrounding pixels were stable. The thermal noise was within normal parameters. The only explanation for the removal that appears in internal documentation is a single word: unclassified. Not unexplained, not anomalous, unclassified. As if someone looked at it, decided if it needed a category that does not yet exist, and moved it somewhere else. Here is what physics says should happen. If you cross the event horizon of a black hole this large, you would not feel it immediately. That is the terrifying part. A stellar mass black hole would tear you apart instantly. Spaghettification, scientists call it, the tidal forces ripping your body into a strand of atoms stretched across thousands of kilometers. But a black hole of 17 billion solar masses has an event horizon so vast that the tidal forces at the crossing point are actually gentle. You would drift across the boundary without any sensation. No alarm, no heat, no signal. Nothing telling you that you had just crossed the last threshold in the universe. The point of no return. You would not know you were inside until you tried to leave. And then you would discover that every direction, forward, backward, sideways, up, down, every single direction now leads toward the singularity. There is no away. Space itself has been restructured. Motion in any direction is motion toward the center. You cannot turn around. You cannot stop. You can only fall. And as you fall, you would watch the entire future of the universe play out above you, compressed, accelerated, flickering like a dying projector, civilizations rising and ending in seconds, stars igniting and collapsing in minutes, the universe growing cold and dark, in what feels to you like an afternoon. You would watch everything end, alone, in silence, falling. Now here is the question nobody in the official briefings will ask out loud. If something at the photon sphere was emitting a structured signal, if there was something there that Webb captured, and that was subsequently removed from public access, what was it structured like? Random noise does not pulse in geometric patterns. Natural plasma emissions do not organize themselves into repeating intervals. The universe is chaotic. Chaos does not arrange itself into sequences without a reason. And this is where things break down completely. Because if the signal was structured, if it was organized, then whatever produced it understood something about physics that we do not. It would have to exist in a place where time does not pass linearly, where gravity is not a force but a landscape, where the concept of survival has been entirely redefined. It would have to be something that chose to live at the edge of the most destructive object in the known universe. Not trapped there, living there, using it. Webb's mission team has not commented on the removed frame. 3 independent researchers who requested the raw data through NASA's public archive system received automated responses citing data integrity review procedures. The review is ongoing. There is no estimated completion date. The black hole at the center of NGC 1277 continues to grow. It is feeding, slowly, steadily, on the gas and dust of its host galaxy. In another billion years, it will be larger still. In another 10 billion, the galaxy around it will be gone, consumed, and the black hole will drift through the universe alone, an invisible mass carrying the ghost of everything it destroyed, a monument to nothing. We built Webb to answer the question of whether we are alone. We aimed it at the darkest, most violent corner of space we could find. We looked directly into the eye of a 17 billion solar mass destroyer of worlds and asked, is anyone there? And for one frame, one single captured exposure before it was quietly removed, the answer appeared to be yes. Maybe the deletion was nothing. Maybe the bureaucracy of science is slow and unglamorous, and the frame will reappear in a future dataset release, explained perfectly and without drama. Or maybe we found something we were never supposed to find, something that has been sitting at the edge of that black hole for longer than our planet has existed. Something that watched the light from Webb's mirrors reach it across 26 million light years, and decided, very deliberately, not to be seen again. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. We have been looking at the sky for a few thousand years. We have been looking carefully for a few hundred. We have been looking with Webb for less than 3. We have no idea what has been watching us for the rest of it. The universe was never empty. We were just too small to be noticed. Until now.